Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kul wallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid walam yulad walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Sadaqallahu al-azim. On behalf of Southern Regional Committee of ICAP, I welcome you all to the budget seminar, the pre-budget seminar of 2016, and especially a very warm welcome to Mr. Ayaz Mahmood, who has kindly consented to be our chief guest today from FBR. As you know that each year ICAP make recommendations and proposals for amendments in the finance bill, and this year as well the taxation committee of the institute has finalized its proposals and recommendations on the 2016 budget. And the purpose of this seminar today is to discuss all those proposals and to brief you what ICAP intends to recommend to the FBR on budget 2016. For this purpose, we have keynote speakers, including Mr. Asif Haroon for direct taxation and Mr. Asif Kasbati for indirect taxation. And then we will have question answers from your side and feedback and any other clarification that you might require from the speakers. And obviously, we'd also like to take advantage of Mr. Ayaz Mahmood to conclude the session and share with us his views on the proposals as well. So we can start with the first presentation, which is delivered by Asif Haroon, who is the member of the Taxation Committee of the Institute, a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. He's a partner in A.F. Ferguson's and Company, and with a very extensive experience in tax practice, and members of various committees and working groups formed by ICAP and tax forums. So I would like now to invite Asif Haroon to take this forward and start with a direct taxation presentation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to say thanks to the Southern Region Committee who have invited me to present the budget proposals on behalf of the ICAP and in front of such a learned audience. So it's my honor that I'm here and I'm presenting the budget proposals on behalf of the ICAP. I would also like to thank my colleagues in the Taxation Committee who had taken out time from their busy schedules and volunteered to draft these budget proposals. So I would also like to thank my colleagues as well. While we have noticed that the suggestions from our members in the ICAP, I think that there were very few suggestions which were made by our members, and that was a really concern for the Taxation Committee, that we were not received the number of the proposal which we were expecting from the members. So that's why the Taxation Committee itself evaluated the current tax issues based on their knowledge and their experience. And we have also considered that the proposals which were presented in the prior years and which are remain unattended. So we have considered the current tax issues as well as all the issues which were proposed to the FBR, and till now these are still unattended. We also recognize and appreciate and realize that the limitations of the FBR and the federal government to accept all the proposals in one go, and because there are revenue implications of some of the proposals, and also there are certain proposals which are already been under litigation before the courts. So it is a difficult situation for the federal government or the FBR to consider all the proposals because of these reasons. So we understand the limitations of the FBR and the federal government, but certainly we expect that our proposals will be given due consideration. And in order to move forward, in my personal view, I would suggest that a joint permanent committee of the FBR and the ICAP should be formed, and that committee should work out the practicability and the implementation of the proposals, and if certain proposals are not implementable or workable, then we can discard them, and we should concentrate on those proposals which are workable. And then over a period of time we can agree on the strategy to implement those proposals which are workable. So it is my suggestion to the chief guest and to the ICAP that we should try to form a committee, a joint committee, who can review these proposals and discuss with the FBR and try to work out certain strategy for the implementation of the proposals. Every year we prepare a huge booklet, contains old proposals as well as new proposals, and we gather together here, we discuss, and then we assemble next year, and again we discuss these proposals. So I think that in order to have a practical perspective of how to basically move forward, I would suggest that there should be some committee who can deliberate it at length. I would also like to inform our members that this year the Taxation Committee had taken a major initiative of reviewing the provincial sales tax laws and to harmonize these tax laws. And we formed a subcommittee which was led by our Rashid Ibrahim, and that subcommittee had reviewed all the provincial sales tax laws in depth and tried to, in fact, I would like to say that we have tried to develop a template of the provincial sales tax law which contains the definitions which should be considered, which should be in the sales tax laws across all the provinces. There should be consistency in the definitions. There should be standard first schedule containing the standard PCTs, numbers, and the descriptions. And we have also, in fact, drafted a document which contains a basis of chargeability of sales tax across the provinces. So that document is ready, and in fact we have also decided that to implement this this work which we have already done after a lot of hard work by the committee, and now we have a document, and we have decided to arrange a joint meeting of all the provincial authorities so that we can sit with them, we can discuss with them whether our work is implementable or not. So this is a very major initiative, a new initiative which was taken this year, and inshallah we will try to implement it, and we will inform the members of the ICAP in due course what is happening on that side. I would also like to suggest that to the SRC and to the tax committee and the president of the ICAP that we should also consider inviting the members of the parliament relating to the standing committee on finance, because we address all the proposals to the FBR representative who is sitting with us. But in the current dispensation, I think that the members of the standing committee on finance are also a major stakeholders, and we should try to approach them, we should try to explain to them so that our proposals can be conveyed in a much stronger manner, rather than we discuss the proposals here in the hall and one representative of FBR is sitting here and that's it. So that is my suggestion to the ICAP to consider my suggestion. Now I would like to start my presentation. In my presentation has been divided into 7 categories. The first is the policy reforms. The second contains the suggestions for the broadening of the tax base. The third is proposal for the corporate sector. The fourth contains the proposal for the specialized sectors, which are service sector, banks, insurance, oil and gas. The fifth is relating to the proposal for the promotion of the industrialization. And sixth is there are proposals which are required to be removed because these are irritants in the tax law. And the last one is relating to the proposals relating to the individuals and the AOPs. The first the first part relates to the policy reforms. And in that, the first and the important suggestion from us is that there is already a concept of a tax policy board in the FBR Act. Section 6 contains a provision which requires that there should be a policy board. And in that policy board, there should be, the meeting should be attended by the 5 federal ministers and the members of the chairmen of the standing committees of the parliament. And the scope of that, right now what is stated in the law is that the scope or the role of this committee is to provide guidance in framing the fiscal policy. Our suggestion is that their powers and their scope should be much stronger, and in fact there should be, this board should be provided the power to legislate, to power to recommend the legislation rather than sitting under the FBR providing guidance. They should be above the FBR and they should basically provide a suggestion which can then be implemented or converted into the legislation. And that committee or that policy board should also be empowered to oversight the performance of the FBR. And frankly, to my knowledge, because of the heavy composition of this committee or board, I'm not sure whether any meeting has been held so far or not. So in order to rationalize the composition of the board, it is our second suggestion that instead of 5 federal ministers, there should be one definitely there will be finance minister and there will be minister for planning, and other than those 2 ministers, there should be some economists, there should be representative of ICAP and the business community and the economists. So that policy board, if formed and empowered, in my view or in committee's view, that would basically help a lot in improving the tax culture of this country. The second suggestion relates to the harmony in the federal and provincial tax law. Everyone should be aware the problems we face day to day, that the federal and the provincial authorities' powers relating to certain services are overlapping. There are certain issues relating to the cross adjustments, and most of the disputes are now pending in the courts. So because of that, it is our suggestion that there should be a statutory forum, or you can say whatever you can name it, but there should be a statutory board or council or anything like that which should be formed under the Council of Common Interest. And that statutory body or forum should basically address these issues like avoidance of multiple taxation by the provinces and the federal government, and harmonization of the tariff headings and the definitions and the scope. And more importantly, there should be a single tax collection mechanism and one single tax return form. Because right now, if any entity is spread over all the provinces, so that, and if they are engaged in providing services, so right now what they are doing, what they have to do, they have to file 5 different tax returns, 5 to the different authorities, and then receiving tax audit notices or inquiries and like that from the 5 authorities. So if such kind of joint or a single tax agency is formed which can collect the tax in a one window operation, then that will resolve number of issues which are being faced by the taxpayers. There are suggestions relating to the appellate side. It is our suggestion that the Commissioner Appeal should be brought under the administrative control of the Ministry of Law. Right now, everyone knows that the Commissioner Appeal is basically an officer of FBR who can easily be pressurized to not to give the decision or not to give a judicious decisions. So it is our suggestion that not only the Commissioner of Appeal should be brought under the control of under the Ministry of Law, and also until the decision of the Commissioner Appeal, no demand should be collected. So that is our suggestion.